Hello, Internet. People of YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, wherever this ends up. Okay, in my last video, I talked about problems with Walmart that I was having, and I felt the need for the story that I told in order for it to make sense when I talked about what I was going through, trying to claim unemployment and trying to get the money that I was owed, that they never paid me for work that I did there, from the Work and Labor Board here in California. Some people had questions about why I was upset about the lunch times and why I was upset about them taking 15 minutes away from me. Okay, well, here, let me break it down for you. Because some people don't know how to do mathematics in their head. Now, I'm not a mathematical genius. I worked at freaking Walmart. Most of my jobs have been manual labor. It's not my forte for mathematics. Okay? But the problem is, when you really think about it, they promise you 8 hours. But then they complain they can't pay for that full 8 hours because they now have too many employees. Well, when you do the math in your head, take an hour away from 8. Now you're down to 7. Now take 15 minutes from that. Now you're down to 6 hours and 45 minutes. Now, factor in the fact that there's 2 more 15-minute breaks you have to take by law in the state of California. If you're working past 6 hours, you have to have 2 15s in there and a 30-minute break. So you can kind of see the math. It's barely qualifying as 6 hours of work. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be at my workplace for 8 hours when I'm not going to even be working 7 hours, okay? That's bullshit. This is money they are ripping from the employee by using a loophole within the system. And the loophole that I'm talking about is the fact that California, even though California is one of the biggest bitch states on the planet, I've lived here for 29 years, and I can tell you we have some of the stupidest goddamn laws you have ever heard of in your life. All right? One of which is you are not allowed to have oil-based paint. And this is just as an example. You cannot have oil-based paint anymore. It has to be remade to be water-based paint. Now, people who know alcohol industry, you know that they have to adjust the levels of alcohol that they have in their beer or their liquor for certain states. Certain states don't allow you to have more than 6% alcohol for the entire drink. Some have even less. In those states where you see people drinking a lot, it makes sense because they have to drink a lot to get to that level of drunk. But I digress. These are hours that they are jacking from you. And the loophole itself that I'm talking about is the fact that California, being as strict as it is for some of these stupid laws, doesn't have the smarts to look through the loophole that I'm going to point out. And the loophole in of itself says, yes, you have to take at least a 30-minute break before the 5th hour of work comes. Okay? This is the loophole. They don't demand or have any strict guidelines added onto that saying that it can only be a 30-minute break. So companies will take advantage of this fact and go, well, I just have to show they've had a 30-minute break. That's all I need to do. So if I need to save money, I'll just make them take an hour. And an example of this is during Black Friday when I was at work. I worked graveyards. As you can see, I got some pretty bad bags and stuff under my eyes because I'm used to night. I've been doing it for many, many, many years. Every job I've had has been working nights till the wee hours of the morning. Even trucking, I drove night because less traffic, less problems, less likely for an accident or an incident to happen, especially if you're in fucking Nebraska. You won't see another car on the oncoming side of the freeway for at least 11 hours sometimes. It's a nightmare. But again, I digress. During Black Friday, what they did for the cashiers, now the cashiers work the same hours, a barely 6-hour schedule. I think it's 6 hours and 15 minutes is what it boils down to. Like I said, I'm not a mathematical genius, but the fact that people are having questions about why I'm angry over the math here I'm having to try and explain it the best I can. Most of my jobs have been labor orientated, not your brain up here. But for them on Black Friday, they were forced to take two 30-minute lunches, even though they barely work 6 hours. And this is for all the employees. They were forced to take two alternating 30-minute lunches. So the first break has to come before the 5th hour. We've talked about that. The second break, they would have them take right around 5 hour and 30-minute mark to the 6 hour and 30-minute mark. All right. So they would take hours away from them that way. They would force them to have a full hour anyways, even though it wasn't required by law. And a lot of people at the store I worked at for cashiers were getting very angry about it in the back. They were ranting and raving. We had one employee yell at a manager that this is bullshit, and he refused to take his break. They sent him home for that day. So, I mean, you can see the problem. The other thing is Walmart has specific people within their corporate offices that you can call up and talk to about problems that you have going on in your life. And not just, I hate my life and I want to kill myself. You don't say that, because they will put you on a watch and probably take away your work and notify the government and a bunch of agencies, and they'll start calling you. And you lose your job eventually that way. No, they have agents who deal with helping people financially, helping you get financial aid, helping you get food stamps, helping you get all this. Well, some people are like, well, that's not a bad thing if you need the help. No, it's not a bad thing. And that's not what I'm saying, is that is a bad thing. You need help, do it. Everybody needs help at some point in their life. Here's the problem. A workplace should not have people specifically there to help you do that. Okay? This is the largest employer in the United States of America. The largest. And some people will dispute that, considering they are closing, I think it was around 150 stores across America. I don't know the exact number. It's 150 or 158. And some people are going to say, well, they're not doing so good now. Well, that's not the point. The point is, those are bullshit closings, okay? Some of those stores are closing because they are very old and need to be remodeled. Other stores are being closed because they say there is a problem with the piping. Look up the history of Walmart and store closings. You will see there's a major history of piping being a problem. Them saying the company they hired cut corners, which caused them to have leaky pipes that have damaged the foundation of the store, causing it to crack and ultimately, well, making the structure of the building unstable, which is a load of shit, okay? Most states that have Walmarts also have tornadoes or earthquakes. So these buildings have to be built to some of the highest freaking standards on the planet. Most of these stores don't get their pipes remodeled or redone in their stores. I'll tell you what's going on. And it's the same thing that happened in San Bernardino, close to where I live. Now, I'm not going to give the exact location of that store. You can look it up yourselves. It was a big controversy. They were trying to be one of the first stores to unionize with the grocery store union, which, you know, I don't like the grocery store union. I think they are ultimately useless. They spend more of their time battling Walmart than helping the people that are already signed up who need help when their jobs do things like this to them. But that's going off topic. Well, they wanted to be the first store to unionize and show Walmart that you can do this and still make a large profit. They closed the entire store. During orientation at Walmarts, especially in California, they show you how to spot, how to read documents, and how to remove people who do this from your store. They teach you how to do this. I will repeat several times. They teach you how to do this, how to read paperwork, and how to make sure what you're signing is not a contract to join the union. If you join the union, Walmart will fire you on the spot when they find out, because the union will send them a letter going, well, we have a union member working at your store, and he has signed a contract expressing that he would like to join the union. They will call you on the phone and fire you. All right? Union people run into Walmart stores and up to employees and ask them to sign this piece of paper. They will tell you that it is an important document that corporate Walmart needs for you to sign. They teach you how to read this paperwork and where to look exactly on there to make sure you are not signing a union piece of paper and that you are not joining it, okay? This is how crooked and screwed up this company is, that they don't want you to do this. Now, some people are wondering, why would a store just close another store because the people are union? That doesn't make sense. That's a huge money loss. Well, let me put it to you this way. If you take your state and draw a line down the middle of your state, and you look at one side of your state, I mean, California, it's a little bit harder to do that. You have to draw a line going like this. You can't go straight down the middle because we're just a long, thin turd. I fucking hate this state. Like I said, we have some stupid laws. But most states, you can draw a line right down the middle, which is why I'd rather live there than here. Again, stupid laws here that we don't back up. We just make them and then move on. If you were to count all the Walmarts on one side and then all the Walmarts on the other side, you need to understand at the lowest grossing stores, it's $100,000 a day. If you're one of those stores, you are most likely going to be shut down and most of the people are going to be moved to other stores or fired. Most of the time, they fire the whole staff. At their highest grossing stores, it's $200,000 to $250,000 a day outside the holidays. On the holidays, it's $300,000 or more per day. And that is what they want you to do. For the cashiers, they have strict guidelines for you to have a certain number of people come through your line every day. And if you don't meet that quota, they talk about getting rid of you. And they do little powwow sessions until they give up and fire your ass, okay? That's not right. Some people function differently. Some people are slower. That's a basic violation of human rights right there. That's how I see it. But you can see the problem here. If you count all the stores within your state, they don't lose a damn dime when they close a store down that isn't performing. They will resurface all the tiles in the store and they will paint the whole inside of the store and they will add decorations to make the store look like it's been updated. They will say it was closed because of a piping issue or a structural issue to the foundation that was threatening the store. They make shit up like this all the time. And then 6 months later to a year later, they reopen the store with a whole brand new staff that they have personally trained themselves to work there. And then when that store, after a year or two, is performing optimally, they close down the other stores within that area or that state that aren't performing to their expectations. They, most of the time, will fire all the employees, regardless of how long they've been working there. If a whole store tries to unionize, they will get rid of all those employees. This is how money grubbing and greedy they are. They want to give you as little opportunity to have a better life as they can. And this is not just me saying this. If you look up documents about other people speaking out against Walmart, about groups who are against Walmart, and I don't mean 20, 30 people who just march against Walmart. I mean thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are walking, marching, and speaking out against Walmart because they are the largest employer in the United States. Out of the whole entire United States. And I know how goddamn big this damn country is because I was a fucking truck driver, okay? I drove across it. I averaged 20,000 plus miles every 2 weeks. I had to have the truck get a full 30,000 mile service every 2 weeks because I drove team. Each one, you drive and you go to bed and the other guy starts driving and then when he goes to bed, you take over, okay? You barely get a moment to breathe. And a lot of times, I'll tell you something that sucks about that. You end up spending 2 weeks with somebody who hasn't showered in 2 weeks. Neither of you have because you don't have time to stop. I'd rather go back and do that goddamn fucking job than ever work for Walmart. So I know how big this damn country is, okay? Walmart doesn't want any of their stores being union. They don't want any of you having a right to anything. Okay? They want to give you as little money as possible, and they will use as many loopholes as they can. One of the biggest loopholes that I saw is they would schedule you to work 6-7 days a week. Sometimes they'd have you working 8 or 9 days without a day off. And the way they would get away with this is by having you either as a part-time employee, and they would schedule you to come in the day of the end of that pay period for those 2 weeks. They'd have you come in the day of that. And if you are a graveyard employee who works overnight till 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, whatever time you get off, you understand they do this to you all the time because the end of your pay period is 2 hours away from when you start most of the time. So guess what? You're not going to get that pay. All right? You're not going to get that extra pay. They won't pay you out any extra shit that they are required by law because the end of that pay period already came and it's left. And now they have a new pay period that has started. They'll have you work 8-9 days in a fucking row, and then they'll give you several days off. I mean, it's unfucking-believable the shit that this company gets away with. It's unbelievable that people allow them to do this. It's unfreaking-believable that this is a constant thing that they are always doing to people. And again, like I said, it's well documented. It's all over the internet. There are many videos of people speaking out against Walmart. There are groups of hundreds of thousands of previous employees doing it. They are marching all over America. And I know people are saying, but they're closing all these stores. Well, no, they're probably going to be remodeling and rehiring and reopening them. I guarantee you, if you actually went to look through most of those stores that they are closing, you will see a lot of those stores are closing for some structural problem or pipes leaking or some other things. Now, if it happens to be that they aren't doing well in that area or that city, yeah, they'll just close a store and never reopen again. And that's the best we can hope for, that they never come back. But at the same time, think of all those jobs that are lost. My store had 400 people working at it. If they just close that store, that's 400 people that could be out of a job. Especially if there is no other store in the area to transfer to. Especially if you are in a southern state. Let's just go ahead and say you live in Nebraska and there's a Walmart. I've driven across Nebraska. I know where there's population and people. You'll be there for 11 hours driving across Nebraska before you find another living soul, aside from gas stations and truck drivers. Okay? So if a store closes, those people don't have anywhere to go. Their job is gone. That's 400 plus people out of a job. That is how big Walmart has gotten. That they can hire that many people at a store. I mean, I've talked about the hour problems. I've spelled the math out to you. And I've shown, and like, when you think about that, that's 400 people that are getting screwed like that. And I'm not counting the managers, because almost all managers at a Walmart are going to be salary. It doesn't matter how many hours they work. They're on salary. They are get paid a sum of money each month. Every year they say, this is as much money as you're going to make, and at the end of each month we will give you a sum of money from this amount that you'll make this year until a year passes, and then it starts over. Most managers are only allowed to work at a store for a couple years before they force them to go to another store, because people get attachments to other employees, to friends. They make friends. They think that's a way to keep them, that the managers become soft, that they try and help people more than they should. Well, no, they don't want that. They'll move that manager to another store and say it's because he's a problem. They see that as a problem, okay? And I saw it at my store. There was people who got away with vandalism, all sorts of crazy shit. And every day a manager would come in, they treat him like it's their best friend in the world. Oh, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing today? Blah, 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 blah. You know, fist bump and all that stuff. And then you come up and say, hey, and they're like, oh, hey, Mr. Bradley. And they walk away like you're fucking nothing. So I've seen it, okay? I've seen managers treat people differently, and I've seen people get away with practically murder and not get a repercussion for it. But another employee does the exact same thing, and they get treated like the worst scum of the planet. So I can see why Walmart does it, but at the same time, that's bullshit. Okay, to keep people from caring, that's I don't agree with that. You know, a lot of the people I worked with were war veterans. Okay, this is the only job that they can get now, which isn't right. These guys fought and died and shed their own blood in different countries for our freedoms and to keep us safe. And they're stuck working at goddamn fucking Walmarts. All right? This needs to end. This is why I'm passionate about speaking out like this. And this is why I'm urging everybody to speak out against Walmart, to get rid of companies like this. There's a reason why big corporate businesses get a lot of leeway, because they pay a lot of money in taxes. Can you imagine if you're making $300,000+ a day at your highest, and at the lowest it's still $100,000? And how many stores are in your area that you could go to in that part of your state? Do the math, you'll see that's a lot of tax money one company is paying. And I'll be damned if they aren't getting kickbacks in some way for that money. The government loves their money. They love their tax money. They love money in general. Okay? So I think there's something more going on here than just Walmart sucks. I think it's a big conspiracy that many people will talk about and many people try and get rid of. Another thing with Walmart is they try and keep you from having less hours. They give you as many hours as they can possibly afford to do, which is stupid when you think about 400 employees. It doesn't take that many to run a store, especially in a city. I don't care how busy you think you may get, but 400 employees is a little bit overkill. So, that's me talking. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope that either you get a good job today, good news. Hell, even if you eat an awesome sandwich. My day's going pretty well. But that's for another video. Have a good one.